Hi, my name is Jody and I'm with Cake and Cookie Cupboard, and we're going to do a demo today on a zombie mouth cookie. We're going to start with a 3¼ inch cookie that's been covered with some dark pink fondant. We have some other tools here. We have some modeling tools and a rolling pin and some pre-made teeth that I'll show you how to make in a minute. We have some airbrush colors. Red, brown, and black are the colors that I'm using the majority of. We have some pre-colored fondant in dark pink, light pink, and flesh tone. I have some pre-made items there to make the demo go a little bit faster, as well as some shortening and some cornstarch. We're going to make the teeth, by just pinching it between our fingers, making kind of a teardrop shape. Flatten it on the bottom edge to make it, look like teeth. Obviously, look at your mouth, look at a mirror, look at a neighbor's mouth, see what shape teeth are, and go for it. I do like to have them pre-made so that they're a little bit harder, so it makes it easier when we're trying to place them into the gum. Next, we're going to take some of the dark pink fondant and we're going to make a little bit of a log. And we're going to roll it so that it's a little thinner on the outside edges and a little deeper in the middle. And this is so that our upper and our lower jaws have a little bit more dimension to them, so that they're not just sitting flat on the cookie. It's going to raise them, give them a little bit of a rounded look. And we're just going to kind of eyeball it and then add a little bit of piping gel and water as our glue and attach that. I have another one pre-made, so we're just going to attach that as well. I probably could have made them a little thicker to the middle, just to round out that jaw just a bit, but each one you do is a little bit of a learning experience. Alright, so now we're going to take some of the lighter pink fondant and we're going to make some gums. We're going to roll out a log again, about the width of the diameter of the cookie. Alright, so almost 3 inches wide. And the cookie, the log is going to be about 3/4 of an inch thick. And we're going to take the rolling pin and we're going to flatten it on one side. You want it thick on one side and flat on the other. Add a little bit of cornstarch just to make it easier to move. And then I apologize that you can't see exactly what I'm doing right now, but you'll be able to see in a minute the finished. But I'm just going to be putting holes using a modeling tool, just a straight cell pick, and I'm going to put some holes in there where the teeth are going to go. Now, depending on the size of your teeth, the size of the mouth of the cookie that you're making, is going to determine how many teeth you actually have. You could have 4 across or 6 or 8 across, it just depends. I did make a couple of teeth that were molars, so that they're thicker, a little bit more square. And I'm not sure if we'll have room to add them, but I thought I would add a couple just in case and have them ready. So once we have that gum area, we're just going to put it over top of that raised piece of fondant, cutting off a little bit of excess so that we don't have to have 14 layers of fondant to bite through. Again, we're going to attach it. Doesn't matter how smooth the outside edge is, but you do want to make sure that that pink goes back far enough so that when we add our skin, that you'll be just seeing the gum. You're also going to notice that I did forget a step here. Once you see the other gum area that was made, you'll see the definition between where the teeth go, and we're just going to add that in after the fact. But we're just going to attach that, and then we're going to go back with a veining tool. Well, actually, what we're going to do now is we're going to add a little bit of piping gel in the socket of the tooth, so the teeth will stick. And then you're going to see that I remember to go back and finish the gum area. All right, so it's like, oops. Now I remember. Alright, so we're going to take the modeling tool and you're just going to press between the holes, and we're just, when the skin gets pulled back and you can pull up your lip and look, you've got kind of a raised area in your gum where the tooth has grown up underneath there. So we want to add that. Now we're going to go ahead and attach the teeth. And with the teeth, you know, people have all sorts of teeth, okay? They're not all straight. They don't all match. You know, it's going to depend on whether or not your zombie had a good dental hygiene or had a good dentist when they were alive. They can be far apart. It can be a crooked grin. It can be, you know, close. Again, there's not really a wrong way here. I mean, part of the thing is we do want it to look like a monster. So if it's not completely straight, that's okay. Alright, so I can go back in and put back in some of that detail that may have gotten pushed out as we were adding the teeth. I have decided to go ahead and add the molars, and that's just a personal preference. You know, it just happened to be big enough to add them. Alright, so once we have the teeth, again, I'm just going to kind of lift that. This is where I probably could have had a little extra fondant under there, just to round out that jaw just a little bit more, okay? But I like having the jaw lifted up so it's not flat against the cookie. Alright, so now we're going to take some of this flesh-colored fondant. I've already got it rolled out, and I'm going to thin it out, and I cut it out with a cookie cutter that's just one size bigger than the cookie. Thinning it with my fingers, and I'm going to just thin the edges, and then I'm going to tear it in half. And that's okay if you have some extra tearing. Just tear it completely in half. I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to add a little bit of water and piping gel to the back side of this so we can attach it to our cookie. And then we're just going to go around, lining up that rounded edge all the way with the bottom edge of the cookie, attaching it. And we'll be able to use our fingers and other tools to kind of get a torn look. And it's okay if it tears as you're putting it on. I mean, that's kind of part of the idea, right? If you do have any extra space, you can either roll out a little bit more, or you can leave it. I could have left that area there, and I apologize with the speed of the video. We had to double up the speed and make some of it look funny. But anyway, I could have left that open as if, you know, the skin and the mouth had been torn as well. But I decided to go ahead and just add a little bit more flesh there. Alright, so we want to get that on, and then just kind of pull out any skin. You can roll it over just a little bit and position it to where you like it. And I did tear off a little bit more so that all the teeth in the gum line would be a little bit more visible. And I want to put it in this spot here because it just seems like it needs something else. Alright, so now we're going to start painting. And again, I'm using red, I'm using a little bit of brown, and a little bit of black. And we're going to be painting pretty much the entire thing, but we're going to start with the inside of the mouth. We're just going to do some brown with a little bit of red. We want to add some color here to make it look like it's got some extra depth. Alright, so we're just going to go in and get around those teeth and add color so that, again, we don't want to call so much attention to it, but we do want to make it appear as if there's nothing back there. Now I'm going to go back with some brown, a little bit of red, and we're going to add in the cracks and the crevices, we're going to add some color. This is going to be darker. Usually you want to go back with your darker colors to depict shadowing, not just, you know, blood pooling there, but actual shadow. So we're going to go in with browns, maybe a little bit of black, and we're going to add shadow and depth. I'm also going to go back here with a bigger brush, and we're going to stain the entire outward skin. And I'm just using a little bit of brown, a touch of pink or red here and there, and sometimes just with a little bit of water. We're kind of staining the skin because nobody's skin is flawless, particularly zombies. So we could have even gone in with a little bit of green, or even, like as I said before, we could have started with like a gray colored skin. We're going to add color over the entire external part of the skin. It's going to again add some depth of color. If there's too much, we can just go back with just a wet brush and take some of it off. But some of the color is going to grab onto any of the torn spots in the fondant and make it darker, and we actually want it to do that. So we're going to just stain the entire outside edge. Be careful of brush strokes. We don't want to do that, but we do want to do the entire thing. Now I'm going to go back with a little bit of red, a little bit of black. As blood dries, it dries dark, and it will dry to almost a black. So we're going to go with some darker reds and blacks on the torn parts of the skin, because that part there has clotted and it could have been dry for a long time. So we're just going to continue to color. We're going to do all the gum area again, a little bit of brown, quite a bit more red to add both for blood and to, extra color. We're not going to leave the teeth pristine white. We are going to go back, and again, if you had started with say an ivory or a yellowish colored fondant, that would have been okay as well. But we are going to just stain the teeth with a little bit of brown, almost just the brown cleaning water, just to add some color first. And you can see here I'm just still adding a little bit of, getting a little bit darker in some of those cracks and crevices. You have to keep turning the cookie though, to make sure that you're getting all of the areas, all the cracked areas. And if you do have, say, too much color or liquid on your brush, not a big deal. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to drip some blood. It's all right. So again, going back with the little bit of brown on the teeth, just to give a little bit of color, because they obviously haven't been brushing their teeth, so we're getting a little bit dirty, and we're going to add in between the teeth, trying again to also lift those. But we're going to take some of that color off. We want the teeth stained, but we don't want to make it so that the entire cookie is brown and red. There has to be a little bit of contrast with the teeth. We want them to stand out a little bit. So I am going to just take a wet brush mostly and take off some of the color. The paper towel is wet, so every time I clean the brush off, it's also getting that brush a little bit damp. And now I am going back and adding some red, a little bit of some of the gum line of some of the teeth, and a little bit here and there. This is where it would have been nice to take maybe a little bit of fondant, get it a little wet, and stick some pieces maybe even in between the teeth as if it was some flesh. And you notice here I'm adding some some drips, and so there you go. I'm going to try to add some photographs in the comment section of the finished cookie as well, because the lighting for my video was not that great. So hopefully we were able to take a few pictures so that you can see the finished piece. And again, I'm going back and just making sure that there's a little bit of fresh blood. And there you go. Again, I'm Jody with the Cake and Cookie Cupboard. Hope that you enjoyed this video.